to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another special message from the Ancient Ones. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? Really praying that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. Special shout out, beloveds, to every single person that has subscribed to this channel, gotten in touch with me, and everyone who's on this spiritual awakening and spiritual journey. What an honor that you have been, you have been selected, you have been chosen, you chose yourself to come in here and break out of the matrix at such a time as this. You are a hero of your own story. You are a hero of your own life. And that's something you really need to keep in check right now, because you may seem like the few, like Noah when he was building the ark, let's say. It's these biblical examples. But, you may feel like you're alone. I get so many emails from people who say they're so lonely. They feel so misunderstood. Beloveds, that's just part of the journey. Just go through that tunnel. There is a light at the end of that tunnel, and when you come through, it will be a whole new world for real. But for now, we're just in the trenches doing the hardest work, so just be aware of that. Go ahead and like the video, beloveds. There's something, YouTube once again is, there's something going on, especially I've noticed with channels which are inclined to our awakening and our enlightenment. So always like and share the videos, just so that it pushes up those algorithms with YouTube, and we continue to get our message to our people. Now, this message kind of made me laugh and cry at the same time, because, beloveds, literally we got kicked out. We got kicked out of the kingdom. Like, that's not a joke. And for so long we've been isolated, we've been totally kicked out, and it's because our consciousness fell at to such a level that we couldn't hear the plants, we couldn't hear the ocean, we couldn't interact with nature, and nature couldn't trust us because we went down so much to our animalistic, the animal brain, like they like to say, or the reptilian, whichever, the lowest brain they like to say, they call it whatever. But we went to our lowest vibrational, nature, and started creating from that point. And so literally nature could not trust us, and so we were kicked out. And we've been living in isolation, beloveds, for thousands of years. And it's not just that we got kicked out of nature, but this whole, should I reveal this now? The 7 continents have almost been quarantined in, beloveds. It's like we got a virus or something, and so we were quarantined in. The Antarctica isn't just in one way. It's a wall around this world that keeps us from the other 33 something continents, beloveds. And they are gonna have like a false, disclosure. I think there's already hints, especially if you're connected to media. I'm not watching anything literally right now. So I'm just seeing hints of how, people are saying there's, they're now saying, are we alone? The US Navy and all these people saying, UFO sighted, and there is a lot of interesting things happening with the weather. And I would recommend this guy. He's called something like Mr. B3333 or something like that. All he focuses on is the weather. And if you really want to know what's going on, like the earthquakes that are happening across the world and everything, because now it's like there's a cleansing that's going on so that we can return back to our families. But we got kicked out, beloveds, and it's not a small thing. We got kicked out of paradise. We got kicked out of our own minds, literally. And because we came out of our own minds where, so much was done to to attack our mental world on an individual level. You know, we were taken from our group think, and then given this individualistic kind of personality, and then it was a divide and conquer where it became every man and woman for himself, you know, where each one of us wanted to achieve our own kind of individual, very low vibrational material ambitions, because those were the things we indoctrinated with. We took on foreign languages. We even forgot how to speak, because the tongue used to be something we didn't use the way we use it now, 24 freaking 7. But now we have to use it 24/7, because that's the only way we can communicate. That's how low we've gone. But you'll find, beloveds, like the true masters and the true highest level beings that I've interacted with, they don't say much, because their word is, I want to say their world is golden, but their world is like a nuclear bomb. Their word is so powerful. Their word can shift your life because of the energy and vibration, and everything is energy and vibration. And so if you tune into the right word, the right person who is speaking power words, beloveds, it can have such a domino effect on your life and totally transform you. I'm kind of getting sidetracked there. But we got kicked out of the kingdom, the queendom. We got kicked out of paradise. We got kicked out of Eden, beloveds. And even if we're on Eden, because Eden has been overlaid, even if we're on Eden, we're not living in Eden. Nature and the trees, all of them are with us, you know, but we can't even interact with them. And many animals chose to come on this downward spiral with us. Many didn't. Many nations checked out. That's why we're seeing these mass extinctions. And you see, it's like the rhino can never be gotten rid of, because the rhino is a spirit and a mental thing first, beloveds. And that's why you'll see, like now, side note, they're finding all these animals that they thought were extinct, like hidden deeply in the forest, because all those are they're spiritual concepts, they're spiritual ideas that are just waiting to, you know, to manifest when the vibration is right. All of a sudden, you know, when we go to paradise, like plants will be blooming, trees will be just rising just like that. But we got kicked out. And that's why we're in total darkness, and we're only able to talk amongst ourselves. Let's take a short break. When we come back, I'll tell you, what does it mean to be kicked out? What did we lose? What did we have before we got kicked out? I think these are the most important questions. If you realize what we had, then you'll realize the riches of this world are nothing compared to the paradise that is your inheritance. This is nothing. It's a cheap copy. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to a special message from the Ancient Ones. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. By the way, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show that we have started a personal relocation community for those who are seriously considering relocating to the motherland. Definitely consider joining. It's called Karibu Nyumbani, which means welcome home in Kiswahili. We will start posting videos. We've started a YouTube channel. You can definitely subscribe there, but it's going to be more of a one-on-one, hands-on relationship on Patreon. So if you're serious about moving back and you don't really have, you know, that African connection to kind of give you a heads up and tips on what to look out for, then definitely consider joining our community. And thanks to everyone who already has. I appreciate, love you so much, and all the feedback we're getting. And if you are in a particular country and you'd like to offer a service, maybe you're a realtor, a lawyer, etc., reach out to me, Dr. Mumbi at drmumbishow.com, and we'll see how we can work together. But let's get back to this special message from the Ancient Ones, beloveds. It's really important that we understand, and understand, and all overstand that we got kicked out of paradise. And on paradise, we weren't using 5% of our brain or 5% of our mind. We were on full throttle, 95%. And if you think that we're using 5% right now, That means the enemy of our soul is also using literally just above 5% to keep this crazy situation going. But we're all down there. And you see, nature had to kick us out because nature couldn't trust us anymore. We started, destroying nature, killing animals, etc., etc., and not having that communion in nature. We started disrespecting nature. And I see it today how, like near my farm, people will go to the river and do no ritual, no nothing, not even honor the river, not even say hi to the river, but will go do their washing with the poisonous Babylon, washing soap, spill it everywhere. And then you wonder why the river eventually dries up, because the river is a spirit. Everything is spirit first, beloveds. And everything is abundant, but you can't just take it just like that. You have to have a communion and interaction, which is what our ancestors understood and overstood. But it was too deep for the invaders to get. Because have you noticed why they take pictures of nature, and now they're the ones who introduce National Geographic, and they'll study the monkey, they'll study the cat, they'll be able to tell you everything the cat can do, they'll be able to tell you everything the monkey can do, but they can't have a conversation with the monkey or the cat. We could. And there's many of us on that highest level who still can. It's an interactive world that we belong to, beloveds. Everything is alive. Everything is a kingdom and a nation. And the most powerful nation on this planet is nature. Nature cannot be defeated, beloveds. Nature cannot be conquered. Nature will destroy humanity before humanity destroys nature. Nature is all powerful. Some even believe nature is God. On the highest level, nature is just, it's another form of creation that we can control. This whole planet is a living being, and it's so massive. We've been lied to about the size. I even did a video back in the day about how they lied about the size of the African continent. Maybe we'll add it to the end of this particular show. But beloveds, we got kicked out. And it's not just about being able to commune with nature, because you see, your healing, all the information you need, nature has it. You should be able to sit under a tree and that tree heals you or tells you what it can do, beloveds. That was a kind of it was magical. Magical, beloveds. Like it was a sign and a wonder. Like we used to walk in awe of how beautiful and magnificent this planet was. And it still is, but we're trapped in such a low vibrational thing, and we're in quarantine. We've been in quarantine for thousands of years, and maybe I'll get into that. It's not a subject that I really want to discuss, but I'm seeing like there are a few seers that are starting to talk about to the 33 continents. So maybe it's something I'll definitely get into in the future. But beloveds, you see, when we got our only protection now with this psychotic psycho of a system, of a diabolical system that is just doing whatever it can to bring this, they can't bring this down. But if you give them your mind and you're a party to Babylon, then you will fall with Babylon. If you are connected anyway to Babylon, you will fall. Nature is our greatest and only protection, and that's why they could never conquer Eden. Because the spirit of nature is still on our side, somehow. The spirit of Africa, the spirit of the nature of Africa. Because even the gold is alive, beloveds. All those diamonds, those rubies, and we are those diamonds and those rubies and the gold. But the spirit of Africa has refused to bow. The spirit of Eden, the spirit of, the original motherland of this has refused to bow. And before, the forces were against us, but now the force is with us, beloveds. And it's just time. I think the most important thing I can say is it's time. But being kicked out disconnected us, and it's time for us to reconnect. And in order to reconnect, we have to find ourselves worthy. Which means there's many Babylon mentalities that we operate in without knowing that we need to overcome and graduate from. Sorry, the chickens are down there. I've locked them in. Because the only way out is in, beloveds. Figure out what's going here. Remove that killer spirit, that murderous spirit, that destructive spirit. Work on overcoming that. At least take the first step, and nature will come towards you and assist you with that. Because if you really want to be safe in the seasons and times to come, then go back to nature and start to honor nature. The trees, the rivers. There's so much magic in that, so much mystery. And the thing is, now you'll need to connect to all kinds of nature, because it's like, I don't know how to put this. Okay, during the Mau Mau, which was the liberation movement here in Kenya, they talked, when that's what I did my PhD on. And when I met some of the former Mau Mau fighters, some were in their 90s, a lot of them were in their 80s, etc., etc. They talked about how nature worked with them and the animals worked with them, and how they'd be hiding in the forest, and everyone would be hiding, when Babylon was dropping the bombs or whatever. They'd be hiding with the elephants and the antelopes and the snakes and everything. They'd all be sleeping together. And some of the animals took a few, bullets for the people, literally, beloveds. So in this season, it's so important for us to interact with nature, because there's so many secrets that the enemy can't know. He's too low vibrational, he can't know. But those secrets may save your life and your family's life. Like, a lot of you are in Babylon, but you see yourselves getting out somehow, off the Titanic, and you don't know how it will happen. I keep getting emails. Some people see themselves like passing through a dark tunnel, and then they're next thing they're in the motherland, and they don't know how they got here. Others see themselves running and jumping bridges and having to do all kinds of crazy things, but they get rescued. Nature is the one that can help you. Nature is the one with the secret codes, beloved, and the secret keys. And we got kicked out because we couldn't be trusted with those keys anymore. But many now are finding their way back to nature. And because of our spiritual team and nature knowing that our spiritual team is working with us, many of those keys and powers and secrets are being revealed to us at such a time as this. Don't miss out. Tuko pamoja.